How's everybody doing? Good.
Let's talk about the addition of Shaq Mason, what he brings to the offensive line, what he brings to the room.
Shaq's been awesome so far. Really smart football player. It's hard to tell physicality, but when you watch him on tape with the Patriots, has that physicality size to him. Good pass blocker, good in the run game. I mean, I really feel great. I know Goody does too about where he is. Really good guy in the room. Has picked things up really, really sharp so far. So really, I think a positive addition to the group.
He's always been an undersized guy, even at Georgia Tech, but he just wins with his get-off, right? Does he have one of the quickest get-offs in the league?
Yeah, I call it transition when he comes out of his stance as far as whether it's in the run game or pass protection-wise. And the other thing is he's got long arms. You don't realize that for being a shorter guy. But again, he's stout, he's strong, he gets his hands on you, it's going to be pretty much, done. And he's got great feet. So from a redirection standpoint, being able to move, adjust to movement, slants, angles, that kind of thing, he's a good athlete that he can adjust to that stuff.
What have you learned about Luke, your draft choice? What do you like about him?
Luke, obviously, I think he has all the intangibles when you watch him on tape, like all you guys have. You study him. That's why we liked him, that standpoint. The other thing is I've had a chance to work with him the last couple of days on Zoom calls, and his retention and mental part of it is really good, and that to me is the hardest thing probably for any college guy coming out anymore is how fast can they pick up the system because of the volume is so much different here at this level than it is in the college level. And, so far just from his retention on the Zoom calls, it seems like he's been pretty good.
Coach, what do you like about the other guys that you have competing for that left guard position?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch in camp, to be honest with you. You got Stinney, you got Nick Leverett, you got Robert Hainsey, who's a football junkie. Those guys are going to come out, and what's better than competition, And I think that's probably, to me, for us, going to be one of the really fun positions to watch through camp, the development and the competition, And that's the one thing we've preached, Goody's preached in our room. It's open. That spot there is every guy's got a shot. Brandon Walton, all those guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Another battle we might have on the roster is for that backup swing tackle between Josh Wells and Johnson. Can you talk about what Johnson brings to the team?
Obviously he's been in the league since 2019. I remember, he was a guy that came out here in our rookie local day, and he was out there and ended up going somewhere else for time being, and now he's back here. But you can tell Fred's been in in a system. He's been in the NFL. He understands things. Again, it's just going to be, can he make that transition from right to left, consistently? And that's the hard thing, that trying to find guys that can do that, because it's a lot harder than you think, being able to be motor memory-wise, the whole thing from a right tackle to a left tackle, all that stuff, because you're punching with different hands at different times. So there's a lot more to it, and that's going to be probably the biggest thing to see, that competition-wise of him being able to. We know Josh can do it. He's done it. He started both tackles for both of us over the last couple of years. So, it's just now just kind of seeing if Fred can.
Will he be focusing more on that? Because he's got some experience at guard.
Yeah.
Or will he be in that left guard mix a little bit as well, or mostly focusing on seeing?
Right now, it's been specifically tackle. Yep.
Coach, when you picked up Tristan Wirfs last year, did you expect him to get this good that fast?
Tristan is an unbelievable. I was saying to somebody the other day, I don't know if I've been coaching for a long time to see two better athletes, big athletes, than Tristan and Vita. I mean, when you look at the size of those men and how athletic they are, I don't see too many guys like that. So I think he had an upper hand from that standpoint. And, we're really fortunate when you look at him, a Robert Hainsey, a Shaq Mason. These guys love football. And, they're all in. Tristan's been out there since he's gotten back with his ankle, trying to get back to where, after the ankle injury and the whole thing. And it's not taking too long. I can say that to you just watching him move. So I think in a little bit you could say, yeah, because, again, that transition coming out of college. But after you start working with him on a daily basis and how important it is to him, it doesn't shock me that he's gotten to Pro Bowl status already.
Can you talk about just having your center back and Pro Bowl center, Jensen, what that means for the quarterback, center continuity with your offense?
Well, I think that obviously you build your offenses up in the middle right there with Ryan and Tom, and it's pretty important, a comfort level, I'm sure, for Tom coming back to work with Ryan. He knows what to expect. Ryan knows our system. That's a whole different thing where if you had if Ryan ended up leaving in free agency, you're bringing in a new center that's going to make all the calls, working with Tom as far as that goes. So there's a lot less that transition with Ryan coming back. Shaq has played a long time in this league, and the other guys that are competing for that left guard besides Gadecki, you really say, okay, those guys know it. So communication-wise, it should be pretty solid, And that's one of the things, that I said to the group in general was whoever that left guard has got to have great communication with Donnie. And that's a big, big part of it. When you get those 5 guys up there, it's a communication standpoint. So having Shaq here with Tristan at this stage has been real critical too, that those guys talking, just doing little walkthroughs and getting their own communication down. That's kind of the game within the game that a lot of people don't realize. So it works out really well.
So with essentially 4 guys competing at left guard, right? You mentioned Stenny, Leverett, Lindsey, Becky. Is it hard to find enough reps for those guys, or will you just be evaluating what they do on second team right guard to see if they can play, or are you really fine-tuning what they do at left guard to make that determination?
We haven't sat down and said, hey, this is how we're going to space out camp yet, but that everyone's going to get a legitimate chance. Rep-wise, there's 3 preseason games. At some point, we're going to have to sit down and say, hey, who's performed better, and obviously, and you try to say, all right, who's going to get reps with the ones this week and, or today and rotate that around so everyone's got a fair shot of getting that. So at some point, there'll be plenty of reps, I think, and between the preseason games and camp to evaluate who we feel is going to go in. And, the one good thing is people don't realize here is you're evaluated every day, so it's going to be, hey, if someone goes out and they get the starting job, that doesn't necessarily, I would say, is going to say, hey, you're the guy for the rest of the year. So, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you got to perform or you're gone. Unfortunately, that's the NFL, and we got a Hall of Fame quarterback back there that you better protect his ass or you ain't going to be on the field very long.
Joe, when you evaluate these guys, obviously, you want guys, offensive linemen, be physical and all those things, right? You got some temperament setters, right? Whether it's Ryan, when you looked at Luke, he calls himself a glass eater. He's a character. And he's made it from lower level as a tight end all the way. So what is it you like about sort of what he brings from that standpoint?
He got a little Jensen in him. There ain't no doubt about that. So, which is a good thing, and that's the one thing how Ryan plays his game, which is we always talk about it. And sometimes, the guys have an FU block out there. It's like, forget the technique. We're just going to, so, and he's got that, but I think there's a fine line, and obviously you kind of got to get him to say, hey, you're going to go ahead and attack and do that. But you got to also have a technique to it, and you got to be smart. There's sometimes you use those blocks at times where you say we got to make a statement here, but it's on a run play where you're not giving up a sack. You know what I mean? So there's some of that to it. But there's always that old saying, you can't teach an old dog to bite, and we ain't gonna have to teach him to bite, so that part of it, we may have to kind of pull him back, which you'd rather do than have to go the other way.
Another guy on the roster missed all of last year with the knee injury, Sedaris Hutchinson. What do you expect out of him? Where is his fit? What is his role potentially going to be?
Hutch is a guard, so he'll be inside competing with those guys as soon as he gets back from a health standpoint. He's in meetings and all that kind of stuff, and he's here, rehabbing and doing his part. So as soon as he gets the green light, he'll be thrown in the mix and have an opportunity just like everybody else.
And what have you seen out of the undrafted free agents guys brought in like Blackwell and Cook?
They have not been here yet.
Have you watched like any tape of them?
No, they'll get them in free. We'll get them in rookie minicamp this weekend and kind of evaluate them from there. I won't because I'm going to my daughter's graduation, but Goody and those guys will be here to see them.
Coach, the hardest position to coach is offensive line. You have to get 5 to work as one. How long is it going to take to get continuity with the 2 new guys?
I think it'll take a little bit, and as I said to you earlier, I think the biggest thing, Shaq's got that element of communication with Tristan, and that's what they're working on now. I think the other one, a big part, is going to be who communicates with Donnie and Ryan, at that left guard spot. That's going to be a part of our evaluation process. So I think that's going to be, you can't be a church mouse out there. They've got to talk, they got to relay the calls from there, and they got to have their own line of communication. So at some point, that's going to be a big factor as we move forward.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.